This is our first and last story. Large hack that happened, phishing attack that happened over the weekend from OpenSea. We had individuals to the tune of, I believe, 15 individuals losing about $1.7 million in NFTs. This had to do with a migration that OpenSea wanted to make with a couple contracts that we'll go into here in a second. We believe that it happened based on emails that were sent out that looked exactly like the OpenSea email that was talking about this migration. So there were a couple of different rules that they wanted to kind of upgrade in certain contracts that you interact with on OpenSea, and that led to these phishers actually recreating the email and phishing 15 individuals out of 1.7 mil.
Obviously unfortunate that it has happened and it's taken, but this what you see here is it's hackers, like, just they're adapting as quickly as they can, right? And in this situation, a lot of different accusations were thrown out. People were like, oh, it has to do with X2, Y2. It has to do with, OpenSea email. It has to do with, I can't remember the other one that people were claiming was where it ended up being. But at the end of the day, it was just a phishing attack, and it was a really well done phishing attack. And they took advantage of, in my opinion, what was kind of a poorly thought out email that OpenSea sent out. So ultimately what looks like took place is OpenSea sends out this email. In the email, it's prompting you to click the link so you can go to their webpage. You can do the take part in the migration, which will basically allow you to keep all your stuff listed. They took that email, they spoofed it, they created the whatever spoof account email they needed to, and then they sent that out to every OpenSea user. Once people got word of it and we're sitting at dinner in Denver, I look at my email and sure enough, I had a copy of, the fake email. The girl next to me had a copy of the fake email. Everyone had a copy of this email. Thankfully, a lot of us were busy during the week and we didn't click it. But unfortunately, there were, multiple people who did. And I think that the biggest lesson here is that for me, that I really try to stress to people when you're getting into this space is you never click links, ever. Don't click a link in your email. Don't click a link in Discord. Don't click a link in Twitter. If that PC that you're on, that you're about to click a link on, shares and is connected to your wallet, don't click it. It's just not worth it. What ends up happening is they get tricky. They use all type of different tactics and all type of different ways of getting you links that are malicious. You sign a transaction that you think is legitimate, and then you lose your $200,000 NFT. And even if it's not a 200,000, even if it's 10, even if it's 4, even if it's 2, like, you don't want to be one of those people who falls victim to that. And you can see here, shout out to Niso on Twitter. Not sure how you say it, but he did the digging. He broke it down. At the end of the day, what he found was that all of these did take place with valid signatures, which means that it was a result of a phishing attack. And I think at the end of the day, it's unfortunate, but there's a lesson here. Don't click links ever. If you think, like some people say, they go into their email and they say, oh, I get the email that says I have a bid on one of my OpenSea, view this item. Don't click that link, because 1 in those 50 could be a phishing email. 10 in those 50 could be a phishing email. Right? Like, you go to your profile. I always do this. Go to my profile, then I look at my offers, then I find where that offer lives, or I go to the NFT itself through my profile. But you don't want to be clicking links, because that's how you end up in the situation.
Yeah, and the unfortunate situation here too is that the hard wallet doesn't protect from this, right? Because you're signing the transaction via the hard wallet. Exactly. So it doesn't even matter if you have it in a Ledger or a Trezor. I think the biggest conversation that should be happening across the space right now is there should be better tools for people to understand what they're clicking. At the end of the day, you're on your MetaMask, and some of the times, bro, and I've been in the space for a minute, like, you don't know what that signature is saying. You don't read nobody reads the fine print. There needs to be a better way to read this. And what's the irony of this is that, and I'll pull up the CTO of OpenSea's tweet here in a second, is that this is what they were trying to do with the migration. And I'll pull this up just so you guys have some context.
Is help to give clear transaction
exactly. So here is the original tweet, right? So I don't know exactly where she points it out. Let's see. Uh, all right, I don't know exactly where she
Yeah,
points
there
this
it
out,
is.
but this move to EIP 712 was to make it so people had a better understanding of what they were clicking. And that tool needs to be fixed. And there's some more context in this. I'll actually link if you revisit. I don't know if we have the links in the description right now, but if you revisit the episode after we're done, you can see the tweets that we're looking at here. But definitely, if it, like that tooling needs to be upgraded, and not through this weird web like email situation that happened that allowed people to get phished. So it
Yeah, and it, some of the other chains already have this, right? Like this is where you find that, like, Ethereum is a great chain and all, but like it's definitely like behind the times when you look at some of the other experiences, right? I think it's Solana and maybe Flow that, like, really kind of lean into the fact that they have human readable transaction descriptions, right? Which means that when you read it, you know exactly what the hell you're doing. I think that's super important. So to see it, hopefully get adopted across the board with OpenSea and hopefully, other platforms and across the whole space,
yeah.
I think would be super helpful. But to the second, kind of like, oh, this is like another like, unfortunate side effect is, the hysteria that took place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, here I am in Denver and I'm getting ready for dinner and I had been disconnected for like an hour maybe that I was at my hotel room and hadn't like seen someone in the space. And all of a sudden people are asking if we're canceling dinner because they got to secure their bags. And I'm like, what's happening? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And to Marty's point in chat, we're all at dinner and everybody's sitting here on revoke.cash or the tracker, and we're sitting here spending 10, 15, $20 to revoke all these connections to our wallet because we're freaking out because there's all this misinformation, right? So when things like this happen, like, we really have to remember to, like, one, do our own research. Don't just believe the first thing that you read. Get out there and read some more sources, check with other people in the space. And two is, like, you really need to, like, go slower in this space. Take your time, look at the transactions a little more, look at your email. Don't click links ever.
Yeah.
Take the time to type in OpenSea.io instead of clicking a link, right? Don't be lazy, because if
Yeah.
you are, then something like this can happen.